You want me to hit the live button?
Yeah. Ooh, look at that. We have just about started exactly the same time
welcome
for both
to the
of our
live.
lives.
Except you started talking before that one went live.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Sound off in the comments. How's everybody feeling? We're doing this. Taking a little stretch break.
I wouldn't call it a break. I was just stretching. But yeah, welcome to Strung 48.
48.
It's the last Strung of the month over here, month 12.
Month 13 is coming up, last month of the year.
And you know what I was looking up the other day?
What were you looking up
I was looking up how a turtle's shell is perfectly divided into basically the new calendar that we follow here.
Well, it's also divided into the tree of life. You've seen like the Kabbalah turtles?
Yeah.
That have like the Kabbalah shells.
Yeah. 13 and 28. 28 days, 13 times. Anyways, that was just a little tidbit.
Pretty interesting. Pretty spiritual. Turtles are awfully spiritual.
Over here is ATM. The two of us comprise ATM. He's a bit of a chucklehead idiot sometimes.
I'm just trying to, elevate the mood, bro. Okay. I'm trying to get elevated.
Get elevated?
I'm trying to get it elevated, not get elevated.
Gotcha. We have a few things to go over.
Enthusiastically. Right?
Hmm?
We're going to do it enthusiastically. It's going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Just nice full breath. Nice full breath.
There's so much vibage going on right now in the stream. What do you think, chat? Chat, do you feel the vibage right now? Do you feel the subtext? Do you feel the sub-vibage going on right now?
Well, that's not really for anyone in this audience.
I don't even know what it is for anyone in this audience. I don't even know what the sub-vibage is, bro. I just feel it.
You're annoying.
I feel that one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So much happens off cam.
What's happening off cam? Oh, you're annoyed at some off cam stuff or some on cam stuff?
Both. But regardless.
You're going to bring our off cam life into on cam right now? Let's bring it, bro. I'm not saying bring the off cam stuff. I'm just wondering. I'm going to
bring the scheduled programming. Yeah. Okay. So we're
doing the thing. We're scripted and we're going live.
You know what Jesus likes to do? Interrupt. It's a fucking constant hobby of his.
I love interrupting.
He loves it. He just loves to be the center of attention. And you know what?
You should see how these lives start. The lives start with the camera. Like
I get pushed off.
I'm like,
careful, you're like hurting.
I'm gonna break the desk. I'm usually over there, and then she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, inclusion." Gotta be inclusive.
Cults in the news, cults in the culture.
So what are we starting? This is with the cults lately?
Yeah, cults lately. Like what's going on? We're a cult, right? We're like 3 or 4 cults that started calling themselves cults around the same time. We're one of them. The others were art projects.
We're part of a cult. We're not necessarily the cult.
Yeah, we're in the cult. We didn't make it. We did join it. D'_JOIN.
There are tweets out there that say that I'm the general. And I'm sure. Yeah. Have you ever been attributed as the founder?
No.
No one wants to.
No one wants to say the white woman founded the cult. That's just. Well, I mean, that's one of the cults in the news. Love Has Won. The lady that died of like colloidal silver overdose and alcoholism.
What is colloidal
who was like
silver?
Mummified by her followers in Colorado, the creepiest state in America. Colloidal silver is like a really popular like new age health supplement that kind of can be talked about as helping things.
For keloids?
What?
Colloidal.
No, colloidal is like COLLOIDAL.
Well,
It's just a type of silver.
I got an ear infection one time, and I was given silver.
Yeah, like there are things that it can be used for.
Holistic doctor.
There are things that it can definitely be used for, but some people say it's like bad for you, but some people don't. And then this lady was taking so much that she like turned blue or something.
Well, if you're just in.
And also drinking copious amounts of alcohol every day.
I can't imagine silver and alcohol go together very well.
Yeah, you know, alcohol doesn't go with much in the bod. But she's in her like series came out like about her cult, and another series about another cult, the Garden came out, which is a hilarious show. We watched one episode. Great. And you know, we follow cults, obviously, maybe not obviously. So it's interesting to see, as predicted by this cult, DLA's cult feeders, Wiz and Koa, all of the predictions of cults being where everything's headed and what kind of things would happen with cults. It's fun to see all those things kind of come to pass. For me, it's a little maddening too, because I don't, that's another thing I won't go into, but yeah, like, that's happening. Time Magazine had an article come out.
Hear that, Mom and Dad?
That in the same breath compared DayLife Army and NXIVM as just like cults that are going on lately, as if we're the same thing, which is hilarious because NXIVM is like, well, it's not hilarious, but NXIVM is an actual human and child trafficking cult, and it's got like millions and millions of dollars backing it and multiple heiresses and like connected individuals. The CIA is involved. It's even more than what the media has purported is going on with that cult, or was.
But to the white woman writing the Times article, it's all the same.
It's just like DayLife Army, you know. DayLife Army, who I don't know if you ever used to watch like our wash, press, and like wear reports on Twitter, but if we wanted to be on that level and on that playing field, we'd be doing a lot of things very differently, and we would be probably have money and you know, a lot of
well, also people don't just start a cult like that, and like people are chosen because of bloodlines to do something like that's that big of a deal.
Yeah, if the cult is that big,
in that world,
it's because it's part of the storyline, it's part of the play, and there's a role that everyone has whether they know it or not. But you know, a role on the great stage of Pasatan.
Theater. It's all just a play.
But anyways, that was funny. That was really funny to see that happening.
What exactly was that? Exactly, what were you saying?
Oh, like, just the mentioning of us and NXIVM in the same sentence.
What article? What cult were they talking about?
It was an article about the colloidal silver lady, Amy, somebody from cult? Love Has Won.
Love Has Won. Terrible name for a cult.
Well, yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. But I understand why people liked it.
I mean, the cults that are, and this is what yesterday, if you're not aware, on Twitter Spaces and somewhere else that isn't totally available to the public, there was a Q&A on
can be with 6 simple washes. You too can have this thing.
Anyways, there was a Q&A, and Wiz was talking a little bit about what's happening with cults lately, which had me thinking about it too, which is that all the like funny cults that are like not serious or like a mess or just like make funnable, memeable, those are the ones getting all the documentaries right now. And like it is kind of serious. Love Has Won ended in like this woman dying and being mummified, but it is a hilarious cult if you look into it.
What's not funny
she's
about
like
that?
She's like a former McDonald's worker, white woman, who literally just went on like a narcissistic, egotistical like trip, whatever, into like being like, I'm God.
Yeah,
that's fucking hilarious.
Handlers, bro.
And the one that's on Discovery Channel, The Garden, we followed this one for a while because especially around the time that they had like their TikTok scandal from eating a dead cat.
I wasn't even on that tip when that was happening.
Yeah, like it's just a certain type of, all these cults are like, they have, their standards are that they like don't have standards. Their thing is that it's like no one, there's no rules, and we all just kind of like vibe together. And then like you know, all the things that can happen when that happens. I think when you have like such a lax structure, it's super easy for military intelligence to just take you over or to guide you into what they want you to do. That's like seemingly like the linchpin of it all, right? Do you feel like that? Kind of like that's what makes things, lets things in and lets things be so crazy.
I think they were there at the inception of most of these things, but yeah, you know. Standards, guys. Standards, chat. Standards, chat. Standards, chat. What's the other one? Unicole, Unicream.
Oh yeah. I want to talk about this one. Unicole's cult, which was one of the cults that started around DayLife, well, Tumple's time, and of the time where my ex-boyfriend his posthumous cult, does that make sense?
Posthumous? What?
Like after he is now dead, but he made a cult around the same time also. And that's like the trio of the three cults I knew about in the beginning that called themselves cults. His was literally just an art project, but it did have, you know, a vibe around it. It was called a cult. But the other one, Unicole, I was following it like lately because I've always, whenever a cult goes IRL or attempts to, that's really interesting to me.
Big moment.
It's a big moment, right? Because like anything can claim it's a cult, but it gets real when you're IRL. And so I was interested in following her cult because it was like going IRL, or like, you know, they had a house and they were going to make it an actual cult commune with a base. And I watched it just become, well, first I watched like it be two witches having a house together with their children, and I was like, that's gonna end in craziness.
With their children.
Yeah, like no men around. And it did end in craziness from what I can vaguely tell. That woman is not there anymore. But it's basically just like Unicole's a landlord and she's like trying to get tenants. And the cult's masters are the bank and like zoning laws. And you know, these are interesting, all the problems that come up with the types of cults you have and what your standards are and what problems or solutions those attract are interesting to me.
She's not even a full-time culter. She like works for like Intel or something, you know. She works for Dell.
Yeah, like there's there's a Pain Matrix career propping that cult up, which is interesting as well. Very
Imagine a cult where you just, you know, own a building and you just make everyone who lives with you pay rent and there's no standards. That sounds like an apartment complex to me.
Yeah, which I guess those are cults. Those are cults as well. No one calls them that though, you know. Landlords are cult leaders, though they're low totem on terms of like the landlords are maybe bigger cult leaders, like the ones who own country or whatever.
Oh, landlords.
Well, anyways, cults lately, this segment of the live, it's popping off with cults lately.
The big word right now, cult.
I see it everywhere. I collect cult nods, and they are just more and more happening. And you know what? I will go into a little bit of why it's like annoying to me.
Please.
Yeah, you know, it's annoying to me because I have probably a really common recovering white hipster problem, which is I still want to like gatekeep or like get credit for or have like from the satanic matrix, to be clear, like cosigns, or like you did the thing that you said that everyone said was crazy, and then your cult feeder said it like everything was going to be cults and called cults soon, and this was just getting in early, and like when that stuff starts to happen, like when cults start to get mentioned and like when all the things that when all the things
Cult
that
of the year.
when all the things that DLA said first and got ripped off, or things taken from and made into AI like storylines and fed into the computer matrix and then coming out as TV shows and whatever you think as delusional cult feeders would say came from them. Seeing it happen is like, I get angry because I'm like, where's, like, I don't know how to say it. Like,
where's my comeuppance?
Where's my comeuppance?
Where's my money?
Like, where's my, all these things that are just stupid, because that system has been, will be stupid over whatever. Why do I want little, like little
Sprinkles.
crumbs and sprinkles from it being like, yes, Emily, Mary, you were right.
Make sure everyone
weren't
gives Mary her
crazy.
rainbow sprinkles.
I want my rainbow sprinkles.
You know whose life is probably pretty rainbow sprinkly right now?
Whose?
The Unicole. Her life is all rainbow sprinkles, no cupcake.
And you know what? All rainbow sprinkles sounds like you're gonna get a stomach ache. But
more than that, it's just there's no substance. You're gonna be hungry. You're gonna,
Yeah, there's gotta be substance. There's gotta be bread.
All sizzle, no steak, as they say.
And sometimes here in DayLife Army, I get frustrated because there's no sprinkles. There's no like charming, like really looks good in a pain matrix package. That's never gonna happen. Like, it's always gonna look wrong to the system that I don't want to look right to, actually. So whatever. But you're not gonna get that sprinkle like pizzazz, exciting, satanic.
But hey, there's plenty of other cults out there that will give you only that.
Yeah, it'll be sparkly. It'll seem exciting. They might blind you with UV lasers at the show.
Yeah, you might end up blind or just completely like all of your capital just drained out of you, and not in a not in a positive. Yeah, it might leave you a corpse-ish, but it has the sizzle. I'm sure Unicults, the sizzle is real.
Anyways, enough of that one. We don't need to give that one any more attention. But in terms of
which ones should we give attention to?
I feel like all of them have been given sufficient attention.
They're gonna go back and clip it, and they're gonna.
I just think there's a little too much attention we give. We give too much attention to things that don't deserve that amount of attention. Sometimes it's an ATM racket.
I understand.
It's an ATM racket.
I thought we were doing a whole like cults lately.
We did. We're not doing a whole podcast. It's the intro. It's the intro.
Over, we're going on to the next thing, right? DLA careers.
Yeah.
That's the series we've been doing for the last 6 weeks.
A long time. Are we? I believe we're on part 7. I believe we're on part 7. DLA careers, past and present. We used to go kind of chronological with this, but now it's just like an assortment of topics each time, And I think that I was thinking this today before we went live. This series is really a good timing because I think it'll kind of be, if we don't skip a Strung, which I don't think we have any like new moon Sabbaths or anything, days of rest coming up on Allday.
Sure that we will.
It's something about those balls dropping is such an annoying noise. She
doesn't like when my balls drop.
Excuse me, inappropriate. What was I saying? Oh, I think that we're gonna finish this series actually right at the end of the year, when a lot of things are like changing, or we're reassessing our careers and where they have been and where they're going.
After the end of the year. Sorry, bro. This is a 12-part series.
Yeah, but the 12th one will be right after the end, so it does kind of line up. I think it does kind of line up.
Yeah, and then that one we'll talk about what a huge mistake we've made.
Yeah, what we're doing now, we're getting out. What did I? Oh, so today I guess I want to talk about our careers here and how they were cancellation and how they were post cancellation. Just kind of reflecting on the differences. And then maybe go into a little bit of like what those cancellations had to teach each of us, because I think they taught us similar things, but also very different personal things that were, unique to us and our each of our own stories,
Mm-hmm. Let's get it.
So yeah, I'll just ask you first, Jesus.
Yes, ma'am.
What
is it?
What was the difference with your career here pre and post cancellation? And I know there were a few waves of cancellation, but let's get the biggest one as the marker, and it can be a crescendo kind of. Shut up, please. Can you stop singing while I'm talking to you? It's so rude.
I'm not singing while you're I'm singing in the background of you talking.
I'm asking you a question,
I hear your question,
and you're singing. I can't hear myself when someone else is singing while I'm trying to ask them a question. Whatever you need to like PR about that not being rude, go ahead. Anyways, I know it's a crescendo of cancellations that kind of like led up to the big one, but like if you can just think of it as pre and post, how has your
post what?
Cancellation.
Which one? The big one?
The big one.
That's a great way to say it.
I'm saying, what is the difference in your career? Before and after?
Career? I don't know. I mean, there were more people here before the cancellation, and people were a little bit more like randos were a little bit more, not randos. There's a lot of like art kids and weird like satanic people who were more interested in doing this pre-cancellation, and I feel like the reputation was just at a different place, and wasn't so much actively fighting off or whatever, dealing with people's opinions or whatever. I mean, people weren't trying to call the SWAT, call the SWAT teams on us and do crazy shit like that before. But there's a certain freedom in being canceled when you're on the other side of being canceled. You don't really have to worry as much anymore about things, about like how you look, because you already look pretty bad in their eyes. So
who's they?
Just the big they, those who are not us, they. In the pain matrix viewpoint, you look unacceptable. So there's a certain freedom that comes with being unacceptable in their world that is a motivator. Not going to say that there weren't elements of shame, because we didn't really take the narrative and like really run with it as well as we could have, or fight the trolls in all the best ways or whatnot. I don't know. But yeah,
And like in terms of your actual day-to-day life as a soldier and like your career, what were changes in those eras?
Just because I went from managing 5 soldiers, went from managing to overseeing 5, then 4 soldiers, and then went to just managing 1, because 3 left either right before or right after the cancellation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a big hump to get over for both of us. Anything else to add?
What was your thing with the thing? What was your experience before and after the big boom for you?
It's a funny name for it. I remember before, I kind of didn't have to take any hardline stances, which is awesome for a white woman, because, commitment to something that might seem crazy or look wrong to the pain matrix, to Hassatan's matrix, that's like something that, we kind of want to ride out and have an escape plan and like have an opportunity to say I was just brainwashed the whole time, or like blah blah blah, I didn't want to do it, when we want to look acceptable again. And other people's take those cues from us, but it's kind of like our playing card that we created. Not saying other people don't act like white women programming, but I think that post cancellation, my life changed, or my career changed here, in that I had to be more committed. Like I went through, I mean, I like to kind of minimize or ignore, but I went through a difficult time. Like, that cancellation was difficult. There were trolls, like, including really involved trolls, like calling and harassing and DMing and like calling my family and calling the cops to SWAT me, like, which didn't work because we weren't actually doing anything illegal or human trafficking. It was just like internet trolls creating, and a specific former
Drama.
soldier being paid by ops to create a narrative. But going through all of that and like being, if anything was on the fence and people were like, well, this might not be like crazy or bad, my issue of like hating to look wrong to the pain matrix, just I had to like full stop get into that and not care about looking wrong anymore, because there was no way for me to not look wrong. Look is very key, because from the outside and these articles and this cancellation, everyone was interacting with me and talking to me as if I was in a sex trafficking cult and abusing people or being abused. So like being a victim or victimizing, mostly being a victim was what was assigned to me, which is almost like more like annoying. But my like,
Well, you would rather be the perp.
in terms of how it makes you feel, it like makes you feel like worse almost. I don't know. Anyways, my career changed after that happened, because I just had to commit more, and I had to double down around looking wrong, a thing that was difficult for me.
You weren't even around for that long before it happened.
I wasn't around for that long before it happened either.
You were here for like a year.
And like I had to learn how to fight a little to defend myself, which I had lived a insulated life of privilege to have never had to fight for myself or anything. And here I was learning how to fight, because it made me like spiritually like fucked to just get all this attention and trolling and like harassment and not do anything, and just let it make me feel shame. And the funny thing, and I've mentioned this other places before, but the funny thing that I learned about how things come to you and your story and what they're there to teach you is that I was getting a part of a cancellation that had to do with like this really weird, like no one could pin down what exactly was being accused, but it was just saying that it was sex trafficking, while I had just stopped doing sex work and like prostituting myself before coming here. Like I was made to stop doing that in order to come to this cult. And before this cult, I was doing that on my own in the Pain Matrix cult. So it was crazy that I was feeling all this shame around a thing that never actually happened or I wasn't a part of. But it was the thing that I was actually a part of had gotten me out of that. So it was like, it was crazy. Anyways, my career after the fact, it looked way less cool, that's for sure. And it was better. Now I'm more able to see that cancellation as a glow up in the way that Wiko told us, the cult feeders of this cult told us it was while it was happening. Like they were able to be like, this is a glow up, see what, chaff gets left behind, what things you don't want that are leaving because of this, and what you can do with this energy. Only with a lot of perspective and later can I look back and see the differences because of where I am now and notice how much better my career here is and my life after that period of time, which that period was now almost 3 years ago. And the time I was in the cult, including URL to IRL, was only a year before the cancellation happened. So pre and post, my Army career got a lot better. My life got a lot better. So I talked a little bit about like more of my personal story of like how things, getting over looking wrong, more exercising shame around my past and what I was like, how I was being viewed, or not to care about what other people think, which is like a big thing for me. But what about you? What were some things that changed in terms of you knowing more about your story before and after that time?
Knowing more about my story.
Like, what did you learn about your own story? I was saying things that I learned about or that I went through, specific to me. But like, what about you?
Learned about my story. Maybe I learned that because I was in some ways the catalyst for this cancellation happening. I was the one who rang up the journalists and was like, "Hey, I got a story for you. You want to talk about DayLife Army?" They're like, "Yes, we're 3 months into already writing an article about Temple. It's so great that you've reached out to us."
You're
Thank
like,
you so
"Yay,
much."
white lady
It
journalist! This
happened
is gonna
so
go great."
fast. I literally was on Facebook Messenger and I messaged some other journalists just being like, "Hey, remember me from when we used to do blah 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 in the music industry? I joined a cult. You want to write an article about it for Vice and or whatever?" And the guy was like, got back to me very quickly, being like, "This isn't really my cup of tea, but I think I know someone who might be interested." And then like 30 minutes later, it's like, "I talked to her and she wants to talk to you, and it looks like she's already familiar with what's going on, and she's trying to." So that was like the nexus of Emily Friedlander doing the thing. So contrary to popular belief, we were not just like, trying to stay out of the press. I mean, maybe that was happening, but I definitely poked the bear. And
things have changed now. Like, we don't agree to. There have been things turned down. Plenty of things turned down after.
Plenty of offers.
You don't need to do the same story twice, or do not literal story, but like
me.
No, I'm just saying like we figured out what happens when you
let a white woman journalist let her in.
Don't need to learn anything more from that.
So yeah, I learned that, I kind of have a pattern of just getting canceled over and over and over and over again, a pattern that I have not quite broken out of. But so I learned that about myself, that something about me is trying to get something from it and will keep on going and going and going until I get more and more canceled. What I'm trying to avoid is like getting canceled into, death or prison.
Well, it's interesting. Before the cancellation, we didn't talk about, and you didn't know much about your narcissism at all, if anything. And then after, quite a bit after, but we're doing this as the timeline, I guess. But at a different point after, that became more clear, and the cancellation thing makes a lot more sense, at least as you were just talking right now, like about a narcissist approach getting attention, and kind of like the pain matrix program of the only attention you can get is bad attention, and like maybe having a low self-esteem issue where you're like, I'm not going to ever succeed. I can't get attention within this cult for being great and like popping off whatever. So I'm just going to get attention in the pain matrix programmed way for my day type, which is to be bad, a bad boy.
Anyway. Yep.
Now you're salty.
About what?
I don't think you like talking about the narcissism.
I do, and you were just talking about it, so.
Or hearing about it.
Okay.
Care to emote of feeling or of whatchamacallit?
I'm good.
But you're not.
I am.
Your mood just shifted like a cloud. It's in the air.
There's no air, bro.
Yeah, there is.
All right.
Just saying, do you want to clear it, bro?
I have nothing clear, bro.
That's a lie.
We're chilling.
That's a lie.
Let it be on the record.
That is a lie.
It's on video.
It's on the record that is a lie.
It's on video, so everything's good. It's all documented. So where in the series are we? What does the schedule say? I always consult the schedule at these points. I'm like, what does our plan say? Let's get back on script.
That was the plan.
All right, we did it. So what is
Anything
it
else
like?
to add, or
No, not really. I mean, I have another series on this if you want to go watch it on YouTube. There are multiple videos that I talk about the cancellation specifically, or I respond to some video cancellations. There's a lot of content to go back on.
there's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, so I would just go back to those, I guess. I don't really have anything to say about my career as to do with this subject. I mean, the big career point was like I used to manage more people and then I stopped. I started managing only one person, and soon after that ended, about a year after.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was the end of my glory days as a leader, I guess. It was the beginning of the end.
Were they your glory days? Was your life better?
In some ways, it was. In some ways, it was not.
Flashes of what you used to do with your time are like floating through my head. Flashes of you on the computer watching Dr. Disrespect videos all day, playing
It wasn't
Goblin
all
Gold
day.
on your computer, on your phone.
I spent like 30 minutes a day on, sometimes I'd turn on an occasional Dr. Disrespect
I believe
stream.
that movies were watched in the middle of the day.
Plenty
from
of things
your
were
room.
going on.
Yeah.
Just getting a lot of content in.
I remember one of the soldiers who was like doing a lot of financial washing at the time was like some of the things that she was like complaining about. I like at the time was like, oh, she's like being such a bitch. Then when I look back, I'm like,
Like what?
I just remember like you were managing her and we were in a hotel room. Like you were telling her to do something and she was like, well, what are you doing? Just playing video games all day?
Yeah, bro. But the thing got done. She didn't really stick around for very long, but
Yeah. The things we did with the opportunities we were given in the past. Regrets. But also that's just how it went to get us where we are now.
It's true.
I think that it's time to, give a shout out to our sponsor, the Automat. What's the Automat, you ask? It's where you send your washes of belief. And, that belief gets transformed into pleasure matrix belief and resources and expansion, emotional and spiritual territory here, physical territory, It's how to buy back your soul. What does that mean? If you want to know, we won't explain it to you first. We'll just have you try it out. Then you can feel what it's like and, get into it or not, depending on how it feels and what happens. But if you would like to start, make a financial wash. That's to cash.me/washitall or paypal.me/washitall. Or if you have crypto wallets, you can, DM me if you're watching this on Instagram right now at DayLife Mary. YouTube, you might just have to find me on Instagram and message me to see other ways to wash if those don't apply to you or you would like a different way. There's plenty of paths. And
all right, great. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for jumping on the live and doing the thing. We value.
Thanks for the wrap up, man. Are we over? I was gonna say, this is kind of that was like a break for our sponsor. And I was gonna see if there were any calls to be made, people to talk to, or anything like that. If you wanted to try any.
I might just make some calls off live. Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah, I think like when we had a all day live, there was a lot more happening that just kind of like was our day-to-day life that had to be on camera because we were on camera the entire day. But let's, I don't think we need that. Let's leave some of that behind. It's a different vibe now. It's just
Who knows
an
what will come
episode
back?
of
Who knows
Allday
what will be next
ATM
time?
Allday live.
Who knows
Strung
what will
28.
be on the next one?
I certainly don't know the future, and what a relief that is.
I do know. I know exactly what's happening. So, future guy.
Yeah, you heard it here first. He's the future guy. Or you're not past, actually, to be specific. He's the not past guy, and I'm the not future gal.
Mhm.
What's up?
Nothing, bro.
You are looking like a little elf is like on your eyelashes, pulling them down so that your eyes look like this.
I do have a little elf.
You have little machine elves bringing you down right
Is that
now.
like a band, Machine Elf?
It's like what they say are the things you see when you're on DMT.
I've never seen the Machine Elves.
Well, I've never done DMT, so
When I did I did not get the Machine Elf download.
probably good.
Yeah, probably.
Anything that you would like to say before we get off this live to maybe end it not in a mood?
I'm fine, bro. I'm good. We're good.
I don't believe you at all. That is what I have to say. I know exactly when your mood shifted, and it was when I was talking about your narcissism attracting negative attention and how it's a way to get attention when you don't feel like you can get a positive attention. Exactly at that moment, I'm telling you, I fucking could feel the clouds come in and your demeanor completely shift, and ever since then it has not shifted back, and you've denied it the entire time. So I'm just saying, this is almost over. Anything else you'd like to say?
I feel like you like to rag on me a little bit.
Yeah, I know
You
that's
do.
why you got mad.
Yeah, but you like to do it, but you like get off on it, and then you don't really like go into as much your role that you had to play in things, and your whole role in whatever that thing was.
What's my role? What's my role in your narcissism gathering cancellations?
I'm not saying that specifically.
I know, but I am.
Oh, what's your role in my narcissism gathering? What was the narcissism gathering? What exactly were you saying?
The mood shift I'm talking about.
No, I know, but what exactly were you saying my narcissism made this cancellation happen? I'm pretty sure I told you. I was
saying,
talking about
I didn't say it made the cancellation happen, to be clear.
Okay, so
I said, as someone who's a narcissist, it makes sense to me that type of person would gather cancellations in their life because it gives you a lot of attention, albeit it's negative attention. But I think in the pain matrix, we are programmed to crave negative attention, even if subconsciously, because we've got low enough self-esteem that we don't think ourselves capable of garnering high quality, positive attention. That's what I said.
Was that what you said?
That is what I said.
Okay, so great. Good. Let it be known.
And that made you feel all types of way.
Well, okay.
All right. Well, I don't think we're going to get the vibe shift on this live.
What vibe shift do you want, bro? Because we started off this live and I was in a good vibes and you shamed me for my good vibes.
I shamed you because you were like singing songs behind. This is your that's one mood. It's like your silly chucklehead mood that is annoying in a different way.
First of all, this word chucklehead that you learned from Wiz that you had never spoken of before. This chucklehead.
It really applies.
What is a chucklehead?
What a really smart guy
to
create that idea. A chucklehead is what you do.
What is it?
It's like it's not really a good mood. It's like a mischievous, everything's a laugh and nothing's serious mood. It's a different kind of disrespectful from a I'm so depressed
whatever
mood.
You don't like either of the
I don't like the chucklehead or the depressed Eeyore. Those are two sides of like a thing I don't like. There's plenty of moods I like of yours. Those two are not, and the one is how you started, and the other is how you ended. And
I was just trying to bring some energy, bro.
Me saying this is not negating my problems. I have problems too. Real hard for me to start joy over here. Real hard for me to not get angry at you.
I would be chuckling a little bit, to try and get some joy into
Whatever.
the live, bro.
Whatever.
If you came and started the live with a bucket full of joy,
it's true.
I
even
would
though
feel comfortable
even though
to
what you're
tone it
saying,
down a
even
little
though
bit.
what you're saying right now is literally like I have an excuse to act stupid because you're stupid. That's a bit stupid. Yeah, I could start joy and things would have gone a different way. But like, doesn't mean I can't talk about your problems because I have
that's
problems.
Fine. You can go ahead and do that. I'm just saying that sometimes I take on the emotional job here a little bit.
A little too much.
Then fucking someone else should step in and try doing it. You know, before I go on strike, then it's just like, you know, I don't know. The job needs filled. You know, I would love to be able to retire.
From what? Being emotional? I would like that
Sure,
too.
yeah, but someone else has got to do it.
Be emotional?
That's not what I was saying. Fill that job. Fill the job of bringing, you know, the vibes, bro. I would love to not be a vibe guy anymore. You know, take that vibe, bring that vibe on over to someone else to be the vibe person. I can just be analytical and go over data.
Give you numbers to crunch every day.
Sure, you know. So, what's up, bro?
I don't know. I'm happy that you like actually said some of the things that you were feeling at me for the last 20 minutes. That's cool. I don't know. I don't know what I think that's everything. It's a pretty short one today, but I guess that's fine.
You don't need to rationalize to these people about, you know, length and stuff.
I'm not like rationalizing to them. It's
You're
more
like
to,
rationalizing it to yourself.
yeah, I was like, is that long enough?
What,
I don't know.
What have we ever been given like a guideline? This is
Well, yeah, kind of.
What?
Like when it's too long, we've been told,
sure.
like, don't go that long.
It's
That's crazy long.
If it's 48 minutes too short. This is so funny. We literally spend so much. Like we could have just capped it, but we had to show. We're like obsessed with showing everyone like the meta narrative. We really want to show I feel like we have a habit. ATM has a habit of being like, we can't just do the thing and like just do the thing. We have to like show everyone like us like having feelings about doing the thing and like let's go back to that moment that we were doing this and when you had like a thing. Let's decompress that. Now let's talk about whether it's socially acceptable for us to have gone live for only 48 minutes. Let's now dissect that for about 10 minutes and talk about like what we usually do. It's like we go so hard into the meta narrative. I have to wonder like what, and you know, maybe I'm doing it right now. I have to wonder like what that feels like to people who are like watching this to be like, wow, they're really talking about.
Is it social or antisocial?
It's antisocial in my opinion to like go into the meta narrative. It's like very solipsistic and very obsessed with, you know, yourself instead of just going and doing the thing and signing off and being like into your own life. And it also shows low self-worth, I think.
I agree with portions of that, but I also agree with like getting to the bottom of feelings, even if you happen to be on a live.
I you know, that's like less of a thing. It's more just like the meta narratives around that, where then, you know, we could have just gone to the thing and it been over, but then it was like, have we gone live long enough?
Oh, so that's the part that is really the
No, but it's not even you doing it. We both do it. And I think that it's almost impossible not to do it when you're going live for like 12 hours because you're just living your life and there's like moments where you're just like, damn, we're really going live. I don't even think it's wrong to be like self-aware of what's going on. I think ATM as a pattern loves the meta narrative.
What do you think Sound off in the comments.
What do you think, chat?
What's up, chat? Let us know. It's a small form of social washing, by the way, to share these lives or to comment on them and say that we're R-worded or awesome
Small.
or like you don't even think about us ever, so why would we think that you care? Whatever. Or asking a question, sound off in the comments.